happening live on the ice here.
Yeah. Well, what we're really looking forward to is like a close game. I mean, I suppose like those two teams are kind of both worth the same. I mean, they played each other quite a few times, and Sven won a few. I mean, it's really I think it's really balanced tie. So we can expect, like usual against those two teams, a very tight and an intense game. On top of that, it's the final of the Champions Tour tournament. There's a lot at stake. Points that count well for the ranking.
Exactly. And a prize money of 11,000 Swiss francs for the winner of this game, while the second is going home with 7,500 Swiss francs. So quite some money at stake here.
Yeah, it's already, I mean, it's good, like we were saying before, like at the start of the season, you know, to fill in your bank account for the team, you know, that will help you later, you know, for your next tournaments and stuff, because players invest a lot of their time, and by playing curling, you know, you can't earn a living. So it's good, you know, to be able to have a bit of money, you know, for your cost, your equipment, and all that stuff.
Especially today, 2012, it has become just a common phenomenon that all big teams around the globe have really to travel abroad, have to play at least one or two major tournaments and events in Canada. And it has become quite a expensive hobby.
Yeah. I mean, once you start playing competitive, I mean, since curling is an Olympic sport, teams really have the objective to go there and win a medal at the Olympics. And, I mean, if you want to get to this level, I mean, you need to do a lot of sacrifices, and every team is working as hard as they can. And you know that if you don't work hard for it, the others will. So it's a really big effort if you want to get up to that level and get to the Olympics, which is, in the end, every athlete's dream.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So here we have Benoit Schwartz playing fourth for Peter de Cruz with a straightforward hit and stick. No big deal whatsoever. And it's going to be Sven Michel who is going to play a clearing and blank this end in order to keep the last rock advantage, the so-called hammer.
So there's Sven Michel's second rock, just a easy takeout. Whole hope to stay in the house to force. Oh no, sorry, my bad. He's got last rock. Yeah, sorry.
Clear.
He's got to clear. He's got to go out and make a blank end, keep the last rock for the next end, and try and score two now.
Exactly.
So now between the ends, the teams always use that little minutes they have between the end just to regroup and have a little team discussion. Usually you talk about how you're going to play the end tactically, maybe if you want to defend more, how you're going to start the end. The start of the end is very important. I mean, it's important that the lead places the rock where the skip wants, because when you decide to play a certain way, you need to open the end in a certain way. And so your lead has to place the rocks how you want them to be placed so that you can follow the tactics that you've decided before the end.
Yeah, usually in the pre-end discussion there is a lot of risk management discussion going on.
Yeah.
How much risk are you going to put at stake?
Yeah.
And, well, we're in the beginning of this final, so no team has to take any risk right now.
Well, I suppose Peter asked Valentin to play a center guard. Well, either it's a center guard, either it's a draw in the house. It looks a little bit more like a center guard. Yes, Peter is pointing in front of the house. And so this is a classical, let's say, attacking end strategy. So Sven will probably ask for a corner guard now. And
there we go. Corner guard is the task for lead Simon Gempler.
Normally teams, it's the start of the game, they're tied, you know, they're going to take a bit of risk because you have to risk something if you want to win at that level. but it will be a controlled risk. I mean, you will not overly attack. I mean, when you fall behind, maybe then you take much more risks because you've got nothing more to lose. So you just try and attack, play all kinds of rocks. Don't take the opponent's rocks out. But like now, I mean, Peter asked for a center guard, and then he's going to ask Valentin to draw behind it. The idea of Peter is actually not to steal, but to force Sven Michel to score one. And if ever the chance comes to steal, well, maybe you take it.
Yeah, that is the basic curling strategy. You always try to score 2 points with a hammer and force your opponent down to only 1 point without having hammer.
Yeah.
And as you just said, if there is a chance to steal, and chances to steal are only created by mistakes of your opponent, then of course you take your chances.
Or a great shot that you make or something like that. You never know. I mean, every end is different in the end. I mean, there's a infinite number of possibilities of different ways. I mean, usually the openings are very classical, like a center guard and then a corner guard. But then, I mean, like you see, Valentin just placed his rock there a little bit behind T-line, which is not a good thing for Peter. Because Sven can use this rock later on. And then we see Sven Michel asking Simon Geppeler to draw behind the corner guard, which is also not perfectly well executed. It's behind T-line and open. So anyway, Peter is shot, and now I suppose that he's going to ask Dominic to draw again behind the center guard and take the control zone, that zone in front of the forefoot, in front of the T-line.
And your prediction is exactly becoming truth right now.
Thank you.
Dominic Merky is asked to draw around this center guard. Dominic Merky, the new member of this team, still current Swiss junior champion with his former team who played out of the curling club of Bern. Now he switched team and joined forces with Peter de Cruz. Of course, quite a familiar combination since Dominic Merky played alternate for 2 World Junior Championships for Team Peter de Cruz.
Yep. So he's a new player and not such a new player in the end. I mean, I used to play for Team de Cruz, and I remember we knew you guys, Team Baden from juniors. We knew you guys well. We were good friends. We're still good friends. And so, I mean, like when you play curling, you want to play with people you go along well with, on and off the ice. That would be the perfect match. I mean, you can have in teams, people who maybe don't go along particularly well, but what's really important is that on the ice things go well, and when you're off the ice together, you don't have any fights or anything. You have to stay together as a team. It's very important in curling because, you live or die with your team, really.
Well, in curling you spend pretty much the entire winter together as a team. Only 4, maybe if you have a 5th player, 5 guys spending most of the winter weekends together in cozy little hotel rooms, and so you really get to know each other and you have to like each other, otherwise things don't turn out good on the ice, I guess.
Yeah, you need to be you really need to think as a team. I mean, when you play like that curling, like we say, every shot played in curling is a team effort. Between the reading of the ice of the skip, between the throwing of the player who throws and the sweeping of the 2 other players, it's a whole combination that will either make the success or the failure of a rock. And so this is a pretty good shot from Dominic Merky there.
Nice little tap back there. In fact, they only wanted to play a freeze. This turned out pretty well since it is, not partially covered, but it's really close to the center guard. So it's putting up a task for Sven Michel, who's most probably going to call for a corner freeze himself.
Yeah. Well, actually, Dominic was lucky because he was maybe just a little bit too fast. Well, anyway, not that much, but you know, when you try and freeze like this on a rock, what you really want to avoid is to have the bounce. It means the bounce is that the rock that you throw will end up next to the rock that you pushed. And so that would make an easy takeout for the other team. And there we see just didn't get the bounce too far, so that actually Sven Michel will have a lot of trouble to get rid of that red rock there in front of the yellow. Now I think that the shot is a little bit short there, despite the heart sweeping. And there's quite a lot of fans in the crowd. I mean, we see there are a lot of parents of the players, you know, who are there to cheer for them. I mean, it's always very important, you know, when you're a player and you've got supporters, people who, I mean, for example, they're all young teams. And I mean, without the support of their parents, I mean,
well, they
none of them could
never have made it
came to that level.
To this level.
Yeah. I mean, it's very important, you know. You need to have parents who agree to follow you, to maybe finance you, and cheer for you, you know, really.
It's Peter Cruz.
Peter Cruz playing it. Important shot there.
We've got a lot of swing right from the middle of the
hard,
sheet.
Very hard sweeping.
Hard sweeping going on.
Hard. The shot
looks
might be a little bit
Peter
short.
Is a little bit on the short side, robs off this center guard and closes things down.
Well, I mean, what might happen is that Sven can use maybe that yellow rock there that was just played before, tap it back maybe. If he can tap it back with a good angle, tap it in the forefoot, I mean, he would be nicely buried, forcing Team de Cruz to have to play a tough shot after that. It's a bit too bad there. Peter was a bit too slow. The line seemed actually pretty good, but, you know, if you throw the rock a little bit slower, it will curl a little bit more, and that's what happened. I mean, despite all the sweeping, the rock was way too slow. I mean, it probably, if it hadn't touched the guard, it would have maybe just touched the house. And there it was just rubbed the guard and stays in front. Luckily for them, total miss there from Claudio Petz playing for Sven Michel. Sven Michel a little frustrated. Claudio Petz disappointed with his shot there. That was maybe a good chance. They're leaving Peter playing 2 shots in a row. Now this is an important moment in the end. I mean, they have to be they have to choose very carefully what they're going to play. Curling is a game of tactics. I mean, once you get into certain situations, you know, you have to start thinking about what you're going to do. Sometimes, you know, you can execute the shots right, but if your tactics is not correct, it can actually not help you at all. So it seems like he wants maybe to tap one of those guards in front. Maybe he's going to play some backline weight or something. You know, try and tap.
Right now, of course, when Michel's still sitting on top of the button shot rock. Though
that red rock, though, is at the advantage of Peter. Hard sweeping again. The sweepers are saying there's a bit more
once
speed.
Again, the rock really, really digs in, and they won't be able to keep it on track.
Curls a lot on this side. And actually, the result is not what's expected, but not the worst result of all. Still, a shot that's not particularly useful right now for Peter. Now it's going to be up to Claudio Petz to try once again the same shot than before, this time not go straight through. It seems like one side curls a little bit more than the other right now. I mean, twice Peter's rock curled a lot, while Claudio Petz's rock stayed reasonably straight, probably with this more or less the same weight. So probably Sven Michel gave him a little bit less ice.
So it's third Claude Pat's trying to make up for his mistake, for his missed shot, and we see some heavy sweeping going on.
And this time
by the man in blue, and this time the Rock is really digging in.
Oh, and this is
a really bad shot.
A very good shot right now. You can see the frustration on Saint Michel's face, but maybe.
What we can say is that Sven Michel is really fortunate that there are 2 rocks at the back end of the 8-footer, so there is a quite big possibility of a jam.
Yeah, well, what's interesting is that what Peter's showing there, exactly, play on that yellow rock, on the red will go on the yellow, and then he could, if the shot is executed perfectly, I think it might even be possible that the yellow rock goes between all the rocks at the back, and he could sit with 2 rocks on the button. Okay, so Peter asking for assuré. Assuré means about a 9.5 second takeout, so pretty fast takeout without being too fast. I mean, has to have a little bit of strength to move all those rocks. So important shot for Benoit Schwartz. Benoit Schwartz is a very precise player. And
so it's Benoit Schwartz, who was the youngest player at the 2012 World Championship in Basel, Switzerland, with his attempt to move things up in the 4-foot circle.
Yeah, seems like it's curling a little bit. Oh, seems
this
close.
One
seems
is
close.
Looking really, really nice,
oh,
and just
probably just hit the rock a little bit too thickly, and the result again is not very good. We've seen it was it was a high difficulty shot. I mean, he had to be really precise, and I mean, he came out really close. I mean, look at this.
And it's just rubbing off the top of the second shot
you
there.
You really had to hit that first yellow very thin.
So it was really, really a matter of centimeters, if not millimeters here.
The problem now is that this red rock has been just moved the wrong way. I mean, it's nearly next to the yellow rock, and probably Sven Michel can come with a very light
maybe hack weight,
back,
not even.
well, maybe just
back
back
line,
back ring, weight, and just tap that yellow a little bit on the inside if possible, or nearly even full, and just roll a tiny bit in and light 2 shots top of the 4-foot.
Once again, he's looking at the angles.
Yeah. And like we said, those teams are going to attack after the first end, after a little round of observation. Now we're really in the game.
Having already 9 rocks in play here.
Yeah. I mean, somebody's going to score in that end unless somebody suddenly pulls out a quintuple takeout or something.
I don't think we have any magicians on the ice
reasonably
today.
probably not going to happen. So the question is, will Sven Michel, who's in a good position to score, will he score 1 or more than 1?
And we got to say Sven Michel was really, really lucky here.
Yeah.
Since there were a couple of misses by his team.
Yeah, on both sides, actually. None of them really managed to get the killer shot yet. I mean, they all had their chances to.
Oh, this one is looking quite narrow.
A lot of sweeping. It's
very, very
close.
Sweeping by the guys from
very close,
Baden,
very
and
close. It seems like a really perfectly executed shot.
That's a brilliant shot here.
That's a brilliant shot there. But Sven Michel's only lying 1, but I mean he's in a good position now. I mean Peter has to be very careful now in his choice. Maybe just guard all that. I suppose that's a possibility. Try and force Sven Michel for a really tough shot for 2.
And as we mentioned before, if you're not having hammer, you always want to cut down your opponent to only 1 point.
The thing is that, see, the situation right now, I mean, is difficult for Peter because, Sven has only got 1 shot, but I think that he can see that red rock at the back, and if he comes maybe with the exact same weight, he could actually arrive on that red rock, push it a little bit further, and score 3. So Peter has to be very, very careful now. And if Sven ever tried this shot, it would be a low-risk shot because even if he hits his yellow, he would just push it shot in the forefoot. So tough situation for Peter, who's got all his rock behind the tee line, while Sven has got 2 rocks in front of the tee line. Looking for some kind of run back.
So the question for the young...
Yeah, they're looking at the guard. I think that's...
Swiss-French team is... Where are we going to put the guard? Because you can't close down every way to the forefoot. You can't really close down all options Sven Michel has. So you might as well just take the most obvious
I think he should just stop Sven Michel from having a chance to score 3. Probably one of the good places he could place the rock would be top of the 12-foot, pretty close to the house, making it impossible either to reach the yellow or especially impossible to reach the red rock at the back, just behind tee line. They're looking at a lot of options there, but in the end, I wonder in the end if Sven Michel could try to draw from the other side. We can't see really the position of the guards there.
It's Benoit Schwartz playing 4th rocks for Team Peter de Cruz. Trying to put up a guard here.
Anyway, I think that there might be a possibility, whatever happens for Sven Michel, to draw from the other side, going between that yellow corner guard and that red center guard. And now it's a very important shot. They have to sweep it, to pull it as far as they can, to block the hole. And that seems like a pretty good shot from Benoit.
Well, there still is a port, though it's bloody narrow.
I wonder, I don't know, now I think it's just a matter of preference. I think, the 3 is avoided now, I think.
I think so too.
Either Sven Michel draws in between those 2 red rocks there, that little port, and just pushes his yellow for second shot, or he can maybe do a cold draw from the other side. Having played nearly all his shots on the right-hand side, maybe he will tend to play his last shot again on that side. I mean, he knows the ice. And he just played that shot before. I think the essential has been done for Peter. I mean, they stopped the possibility for 3.
Well, Sven Michel is still trying to find out a possibility to score 3 after all, but though I don't think there is any chance to.
Yeah, I think it's tough anyway. Well, I think he's also really thinking, what does he prefer to play? Just through the port, through the other side. Yeah, finally he prefers through the other side. It seems, the port is bigger, so it seems like an easier shot. We'll see how he manages it. He has just has to touch the forefoot more or less, and that's good enough for having a second shot.
Sven Michel, of course, being a confident skip, has his tee line way down and usually hits 4-foot ice in these kind of situations. So let's see whether he's able to handle the situation today as well as he does usually. It's Sven Michel with a draw for 2.
You have to be careful with the line. We remember Peter's Rocks, who curled a lot on that side. Seems pretty close. Yeah, you see how it's curling a lot, and that rock seems pretty nice.
Really nicely done
Very
here by
nice
Sven
shot.
Michel.
Wow.
Through
Bang
the
on the
port,
button.
right onto the button.
Good
and
choice.
You can hear the crowd cheering. We've got the first score on the board. It's 2-0 in favor for Sven Michel from Adelboden against Peter de Cruz from Geneva. It's the final of the Baden Masters 2012, the first event of the Curling Champions Tour.
Yeah. You can see actually how this rock is really difficult. I mean, he was centimeters away from the yellow guard, centimeters away from the red guard. But I mean, those are very important skip shots because, you know, drawing for the extra point is really important. You know, just for the morale, and also, I mean, when you have the last rock and you have that chance to score 2, you have to take it, even if the shot is very difficult. In the end, it was just a cold draw, so routine had to have the line right, and that's what they did perfectly.
So as the third end is only beginning here at the final of the Champions Tour event, Baden Masters 2012, we are having no one else than the executive director of the Curling Champions Tour right next to us in the studio. It's Armin Harder. Thanks for having you.
Daniel, thank you very much.
And we would like to ask you some questions about this event and, of course, the Curling Champions Tour, which is becoming bigger and bigger every year, it seems.
Certainly.
So, the Baden Masters 2012, did you expect to see 2 Swiss teams here in the final?
Well, maybe not 2, but certainly Michel defending his title successfully so far. And the Geneva team having won Champrix last year certainly set their set tones coming out of the junior season, doing quite well. So not really a surprise, no. But obviously we had some great teams here that didn't make it. So.
Well, you name it. The world's elite was here. Are you satisfied with the competition and the kind of teams that are coming to Switzerland for this first event?
Well, it is early in the season, so it's a great place for a lot of. We saw Gushu here with a brand new team. The Scots are playing with their team a little bit, so it's a great competition to come and get your get those games in that are so important. You know, just for the timing and the communications and all those things that you can't really train. You need to do those under game conditions. And it's a great place to come. Obviously, it's late August, so the weather here is still pretty warm, or it was. So it is difficult to put on an event, but we come through pretty good every year here.
Well, the Baden Masters 2012 is, of course, the first event of the Curling Champions Tour.
That's correct. Yep.
And the Curling Champions Tour is now part of the World Curling Tour as well. Many nations get now their point and ranking system ongoing along with the Curling Champions Tour. Do you think that is a big step for the tour, that teams can make points at our events?
Well, they are 2 separate tours. The Champions Tour and the World Curling Tour are 2 separate tours, but we do points count in each event the same way. So World Curling Tour has their ranking, we have our ranking, but that works hand in hand. So yes, the countries more and more, Switzerland new this year, are using the tour events, both of them, as ranking for points. The points work the same way, obviously. Jerry Gertz does a great job for us for the Swiss ranking system. We're using his model, so it all works hand in hand. So the calculations are the same.
So do you think this step will bring even more teams to the tour, and maybe some teams from over the pond, overseas?
Well, obviously, that's why there are two separate tours, is because the travel is so expensive. And when we really started with the Champions Tour, it used to be called World Curling Tour Europe. We rebranded it and made it a specifically a European tour. It was mainly done because the travel times was so difficult and so expensive, and European teams needed to play tour events. So we created this, and it's developed over the years. We're always happy to see North American teams here. Our teams go over and play in the tour in Canada. They gather a lot of experience there, and I think European curling in general has certainly lifted, I would think, in part because of the tour.
Well, having two European teams here in the final should be proof enough that, even Swiss teams, that we have some really world-class teams in Europe. So
the Swiss do have a little bit of an advantage here. They have trained here all summer on this ice, so they've got a bit of a jump on some of these teams. Some of these teams come in here haven't touched the ice at all. So,
which is an advantage for the Swiss, definitely.
It does give an advantage. Not to make these results for these Swiss teams any less. I mean, they're two great young teams here. They've got some great potential for the future for Swiss curling.
So I think it was last year that Hamburg was added to the tour.
That's correct.
And so we have an additional event to the tour now. Do you think that in the future there will be even more events coming?
We are working on it. Obviously, sponsorship for these events is always a difficulty, but curling is becoming more and more popular, and we are working on a few more events. Can't say anything right now, but we hope to have a few more. Hamburg, like you said, last year was a new event. That'll expand this year and get even a little bit bigger. The European Masters, the final for Champions Tour in St. Gallen, was a great hit this year. We had 6 teams in the final. Next year there'll be 8 teams, and the teams will be playing for that. That's a lot bigger money in that event.
So the Champions Tour is evolving and developing
slowly as curling does evolve. As curling seems to not it goes quickly from the viewers, and we seem to be making big numbers, but the events are just not quite there yet. So, but we're working on it.
So would you like to say something about our website and the new identity we are creating for this Champions Tour?
Well, obviously, I think you guys have been doing a great job here, you and Roger, and you've mentioned that the World Curling, the Champions Tour site, www.curlingchampionstour.org. Obviously, a lot of information there. It's a good place to get what's going on the tour, and we are going to be covering quite a few games here over the next few months on the tour. We're in Basel for the men's and the women's. We'll be covering some games from Oslo in 2 weeks, and certainly most of the Swiss events we'll be covering, and then the final at the end.
So European curling is on the move, and we are not sleeping, obviously. Thank you, Armin Harder.
Well, thank
you very much. Would you like to lean out of the window and make a prediction of a winner here?
Well, obviously, having won it once already, the defending champion is looking pretty strong. They got a 2-point lead, so right now, Michel's certainly ahead.
Well, he is certainly ahead.
But I wouldn't want to predict. These two teams will probably be. There'll be a lot of good competition between these two teams over the next few years. They're the young guns out of Switzerland. They'll be the teams to watch, and there'll be some great competition between these two teams. And I think they'll show us some great entertainment over the next couple of seasons. But
I
won't
sure
lean
think
out
so
and say
too.
which one's going to be coming ahead right now.
Well, in Swiss terms, we are having a clash of the titans here at the Baden Masters 2012. Thank you, Armin Harder.
Thank you.
We are going back to our cover game. So it's If you have any questions and would like to know something more about the Curling Champions Tour, or even questions or comments about the strategy or our event here in Baden, just write us an email to live@curlingchampionstour.org. We are happily answering your questions, and we are even glad if we get some feedback. Let us know if you like what we are doing here. I sure hope you do, because we are liking it very much what we are doing here. So thank you for joining us today. It's the final of the Baden Masters 2012. My name is Daniel Schifferle, and right next to me is Roger Golka.
Yeah, well, welcome back. So, Jan has been advancing. Peter in a reasonably difficult situation now if he wants to score a 2. There's still a guard there he can use, but Sven has got a control of the control zone there in front of the 4-foot circle with a rock there. It seems open. They're looking at a little hit and roll. That would probably be, if it's possible, I think that would be the shot to play. You know, there's still that backing there. If you have a rock there at the top of the 4-foot, you know, there's still that rock at the back of the 4-foot that can be useful for Peter. So
exactly, and Peter de Cruz is still having this center guard, which is obviously the one single rock his entire strategy is evolving around.
Yeah.
So it's the skip of Team Geneva, Peter de Cruz, with the attempt of a hit and roll. As he's a little bit wide, he might even go for a double takeout here. Didn't quite manage to get rid of both yellow rocks, but
the problem here is that he rolled out. That's the biggest problem, really, a little bit wide. I wonder why the sweepers actually swept that one.
Well, I think it was probably plan B. As soon as Benoit Schwartz realized, oh, my skip is a little bit wide on the release here. But we're going to have to do something with this rock.
Yeah, but I mean, even if it was jamming, at least it would still have been rock behind the tee line that could have been useful. I think it was quite important also to maybe keep the shooter in play. But still, I mean, well, the thing is that now Sven is going to try and draw one again, and this time he's going to try and be hidden behind the guard and top of the 4-foot. I mean, if he has the same length in the previous rock that was there, but he's behind the guard, I mean, like, Peter's going to be a hell of a lot of trouble to score 2 now.
Well, he will be in a hell of a lot of trouble to even blank the end. So
yeah. He has to hope for a miss if he ever wants to blank. But I think that still, once there's this guard, I mean, he probably has to go for the 2, because if he maybe tries and play a double takeout, and if he rolls out, then Michel would just use that guard again, and so it would be useless.
This rock is once again really digging in, maybe a little bit on the short side.
It seems
the
a little
sweepers are
bit
dragging
short.
it. They're dragging it, and it comes by the guard and goes right into the 12-foot circle. What a team effort here.
But I think they were really sweeping it for the speed, because it's just a little bit short. I think he really wanted to be far enough to have a good chance to steal. I mean, if you want to have a good chance to steal again, I think Benoit's a really good draw shot player, and if you want to have a chance to steal against a guy like that, you really have to start putting rocks in the 4-foot. Otherwise, I mean, chances are close to 0. Now, actually, Benoit has got a chance to bury himself behind those 2 rocks and have their chance for 2 now.
In the end, it is obviously not the goal of Team Michel to steal for as a highest priority here. What they want to do is force Peter de Cruz to take 1 point, and giving up the hammer.
Yeah.
Though, as you said, Benoit Schwartz has the chance here to bury his draw in the center and might even create the possibility to score 2 points after all.
Yeah, it has to curl still a bit, but the line seems pretty good. It's close at least. Line seems good. It has to. It's curling. Now it has to stay in front of tee, like Peter is asking his sweepers. Make sure it's in front of tee. And finally, it is behind tee line, but yeah, chance for 2 there if ever Michel manages to freeze on that is 0.
Yeah,
but at least he has the chance for 1.
And we have seen quite a lot of curl here, so there's always the possibility that Sven Michel is going to rub off this front guard
Very
in the
big,
worst case scenario.
Yeah, very big dig at the end there. Once it passed, it passed the guard with a relatively good margin and ended up really well buried in behind those two rocks. So at the end, it's really where all the curl happens. What we call it curling is that, usually the rock goes pretty straight, and then at the end it starts curling a lot, and the point where it goes from going pretty straight to curling a lot, we call the breaking point, and often, you use the sweeping to control where that breaking point is going to happen. Sometimes if you don't sweep early enough, your rock might start curling earlier and might hit the guard. So you have to really pay attention to that breaking point. And now Sven seems to have played a pretty good shot, but must curl.
And just digs in second position here.
I think he's shot, but
in shot position, but in a really bad spot though.
But I think Benoit can come actually the same weight and he threw before, but this time they can use the sweepers the whole way, and just they really just need to bump that rock. A few centimeters back. They really don't need to touch it hit it very hard. So probably he's going to give him the same ice, more or less the same weight, but this time you use the sweeper so that the rock will curl less, and just tap that yellow back a little bit. And this is now Peter's chance after this half-missed shot from Sven Michel to come back into the game and score the 2. Very important 2. Crucial shot for Benoit Schwartz.
Even though it didn't look that well at all for Team de Cruz.
Seems a little bit wider than before.
Here's a big chance to score 2 and get back into the game.
Looks good.
Looks really nice. Coming down right on top of this yellow rock.
This is a perfectly executed shot. Perfect.
And we've got a score of 2, and we are even at the Baden Masters 2012. It's the final score of 2-2 in the third end.
Peter back in the final.
Going right into the fourth with a even score. It's Peter de Cruz from Geneva facing Sven Michel from Adelboden.
Thank you. 5. Devant 1. 5. Ouais, ça a l'air assez court. Hein. À vous, ligne parfaite. 5. Dans le 8 pieds, dans le 8 pieds. Ouais.
So, as we are back at an even score, we are also back to quite a defensive strategy, and Valentin Tanner coming right into the rings with his first rock.
Ligne ok. Plus large. Plus large. Oh, attends, on n'est pas dessus pour l'instant. On va pas la cacher pour l'instant. Oh, attends. Sur la fin, voilà. Ouais. Tant qu'elle bouge, hein, Ben. Tant qu'elle bouge, allez. Tant qu'elle bouge, tout long. Wait, 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 wait. Yeah.
So I'm glad that we have the first question in. It's from Andrea, and she's asking, why is Sven Michel always sliding a little bit, well, let's say not straight on the broom, though a little bit headed towards the outside and playing outside in, and whether that is a new technique and whether she should learn it in order to play some better curling. Well, Andrea, that is not a new technique. It's just a typical release of Sven Michel. It's the one he adapted over the years. And in fact, it's something you shouldn't learn because when you're straight on the broom, you're really where you should be. You play precisely, and your third or your skip who's holding the broom can really tell whether you hit the broom and whether you were on spot or not. In case of Sven Michel, as you've really good and well observed, he slides always a little bit across and drags his sliding or his backing leg a little bit to the side. And since he played this way for at least 10 years now, his team is already used to it. And especially Claudio Pats, who's holding the broom for him, knows exactly how he's throwing the rocks and where he should put down the broom. No, it's not any new technique, it's only the Sven Michel way to play.
Yeah, when you watch it curling, I mean, you see all kinds of different techniques and deliveries. And many of those deliveries are not the ones that are taught in the books. I mean, you know, in the books you have to slide perfectly straight, release the rock perfectly straight. And, you know, you see all kinds of different styles, people who maybe twist the rock a little bit inside out, outside in, etc. And so if you want to learn the ideal technique, you must just always be consistent, always be straight. And, I mean, once you have your technique, I mean, you just have to be consistent. That's what Sven Michel is. He's very consistent. He always plays the same way. And so you can read the trajectory of his rocks. Of course, I mean, it's better maybe if you want to learn the really right technique. It's better, for example, to look at a player like Glenn Howard, who has like probably, or Brad Gushue, who probably have like the most classical and
clean
straight
sliding,
and clean sliding techniques
out there. Yeah. Though if you want to see another example of a very, well, let's say special way to slide and special way of delivery, just look at Randy Ferbey. He's of course a curling legend, 6-time world champion, and or was it 4-time world champion and 6-time Canadian champion?
4 times Canadian champion at least. I think 3 times world champion or something like that.
Well, anyway, he comes out of the hack in quite a special manner, and many people always say, well, he's sliding even worse than I do, though he isn't at all. He only has his own technique, and he's very consistent and throws each and every single rock exactly the same way. And that is, in the end, what counts.
Yep. So actually we can see very good shots have been played now. In the end, Peter are actually in a pretty good position. They've got that center guard. And they have got that perfect freeze there on that rock, on that yellow rock on the side. Too bad that shot from Dominic Marquis is just a little bit too short. It isn't shot rock. I really wonder what Sven Michel's going to try. Maybe try and draw himself behind the center guard and behind the red rock in the top of the 12 foot. If he manages to get one buried there, it's going to be very difficult to take out, or maybe he's looking at a hack weight. Maybe he will try and bounce off the red rock in the middle and arrive on the 2 other rocks on the side. Very difficult shot, Est. and very nicely executed. This
What
is an
a
absolutely
beautiful shot.
beauty. I mean, it was really, well, it was a side that swings a lot, but I mean, still, Sandro Choya probably couldn't see anything of that rock he hit there in the middle. And he rolled in an unbelievable spot there, because there's no way Peter can get rid of that shot there of this shooter with only one rock. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful.
That was certainly one beautiful shot.
That's curling at its finest, really. The weight was perfect. The line was perfect. The sweeping was well managed. I mean, if you want to see a perfectly well team executed shot, this is a perfect example.
That is certainly a keeper, yes. And you can see the facial expression of the back end of Geneva. They really, right now, don't have a clue what they should do with that rock.
Yeah, it's really too bad. I suppose maybe they're probably across their mind, like, why isn't that rock just a little bit further on, why, or something? But anyway, you mustn't think about that too long. Let's just keep playing. It seems that Peter wants to sort of draw near that yellow there, near that yellow shooter from Sandro Toya, who rolled in that perfect spot. So they're calling it T-line weight.
And they might have jumped on it a little bit too early here. Though now it digs in really nicely, but just a little bit too late.
Just overswept it a little bit. You know, sometimes when you throw the rocks inside out, they tend to curl a lot at the start, and then they straighten out at the end. And I think that's how they got caught in that shot, because when they probably yelled for the sweeping, it probably looked to them like if that rock was going to hit in front there, one of this red rock in front of the yellow rock there. And so they started sweeping it, but in the end, the trajectory just straightened out. And that's when they said stop, but it was maybe a little bit too late. The rock just didn't curl the way they wanted.
And that's the perfect example why curlers around the globe are practicing the release over and over and over again, because you really want a clean and nice release. No little pushes, no disturbs during the release of the rock itself. Otherwise, it's really, really tough to call the sweeping.
Well, the thing is, if he hits it on the nose right there, he might just leave a double to Peter. And it seems like there's a double takeout left there. So I think what is possible to do is actually hit that yellow rock in the forefoot. It can just nick that second yellow shot, and the shooter can roll in the middle. And if you hit it, like Peter is explaining, if you hit it on the nose, it's also a pretty good shot.
So once again, as a quick reminder, if you have any questions, just write us an email onto live@curlingchampionstour.org or check out our Facebook page. It is Live Curling on Lola TV, Lola1.tv. That is our Facebook page. We are happy if you leave your comments and tell us what you think of our broadcasting and covering of the Curling Champions Tour. Very, very nice double takeout here.
Good shot. Peter said that he was a little bit inside, but still, I think it had that little effect there where the rock probably just straightened out at the end. And finally, the double takeout is there. The result is there. The shooter rolled out, though. But, I mean, now Peter is lying shot again with that red rock at the top of the 8-foot circle, the white circle there in the house.
What could be quite important, though, is the fact that Sven Michel is lying third right now and keeps on putting rocks into play, into the rings here.
Yeah. And now a change of place on the ice. I mean, now they're trying to draw from the other side behind the center guard. Seems like it's curling a lot.
And with some great sweeping effort, they're able to drag it by the guard.
You can see Sandro Troye there with his number 57. They're pressing.
Really pounding on his broom.
Yeah. For a sweeping to be efficient, you need to have a combination of speed of the movement and pressure that you put on the broom to be as efficient as possible. I mean, when you have big guys like Sandro Troye pressing, I mean, it's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
If you want to see, I guess some of the most pressure you can get on a curling broom, check out Ben Hebert on YouTube or Marcel Larocque.
Rock. Yeah. Oh, those are probably two of the best sweepers in the world. I mean, but here we have like two teams with also a really good sweeping. I mean, Valentin and Dominic are also two strong boys. I mean, they can really pound the ice with their brooms, and same with Sandro Troye.
So this one doesn't seem to curl a whole lot and might just miss.
Just curled a lot at the end, but it's enough because the red rock is shot again. Good enough shot for Benoit.
Just good enough.
Just good enough indeed.
But we have to keep an eye on all those yellow rocks, which are not shot rock, but third and fourth and fifth.
Yeah, and to come back to the sweeping information, I mean, like, it's good to have guys who can sweep really well, but I mean, to make a good sweeper, a really good sweeper, you need to have people who know how to sweep and who know when to sweep. I mean, you need to have sweepers who can see the speed of the rock very well, who can anticipate, who can know if the rock is too short or too long. I mean, sometimes, a good sweeper will know when not to sweep the rock if it's fast enough, I mean, for example, if you have to draw the button and the speed seems perfect, the sweeper will not sweep it.
Well, you not only do have to have the techniques and the pressure and force, but also the eye to be a good sweeper.
Yeah.
You really have to judge where is this rock coming to an end, where does it stop on the sheet.
Also, one of the sweepers' role is, once the rock is thrown, I mean, the sweepers are going to announce the speed that they estimate is the real speed of the rock. They're going to say numbers. I mean, usually the teams divide the sheet into numbers so that the sweepers can announce easily where they think the rock is going to arrive. And with that information, the skip can know the speed, and he can look at the line, and knowing the speed and seeing the line, he can anticipate where the rock is going to go, if it's going to curl too much, not enough, and he can also call the sweeping for the line. So it's a whole team effort again for the sweeping. I mean, the skip looks at the line, the sweepers pay attention to the speed. And if you have good sweepers who can see the speed really well, they can tell the skip precise information, and he will be able to anticipate the trajectory of the rock as best as he can. As best as possible, maybe.
So the sweeping part of curling really is a science on its own, and certainly a major part in today's curling, which is becoming more and more physical.
Yeah. I mean, with sweeping, you can really get those. You know, maximum you can play in curling is 100%, and often, like all the teams, they play around 85, 90%, and with a good sweeping, you can get those extra 2, 3, 4, 5%, you know, that you need to make the difference in a game. And here, Sandro Troya playing a difficult run back on his first shot. He wants to try and get rid of that very, very bothering red shot, or at least get rid of the guard, which he does. And he's actually a bit lucky there by jamming that rock behind.
And
so
he might be even lying short now.
I think it's still maybe the red. But anyway, what's going to happen now is that, I mean, for Peter to force Sven to score only one, he needs to leave a house where there are 2 shots, 2 red shots, and no possibility for a double takeout. So Benoit will probably draw in the house, first, second shot, anything, and force Michel for a draw for 1. Actually, with that center guard, he could even come and bury. He could come maybe and bury himself behind the center guard. And Peter thinks about pushing that rock behind.
Well, apparently Peter and Benoit think that now Sven Michel is lying short.
Yeah. Anyway, what they must do is that they must lie second shot. This is very, very important. I mean, there's 3 yellow rocks in the house. I mean, Sven can always now manage. Now that there's no more guard, he can get rid of that that red rock now. That's shot, and it's.
So it's really important to put this rock in a very precise and determined position, because you don't want to leave any chance for a double takeout here.
Vitesse. Vitesse. Wow. Wow. Attention. Wow. Wow. Rien. Attention. Ouais. 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 Fort les gars.
Yeah, and it seems like a very nicely executed shot. It's very important to be shot, and that's a good shot from Benoit Schwartz.
And once again, great sweeping by Valentin Tanner and Dominic Merky. They really have a high frequency, high speed sweeping.
And, well, actually now a big dilemma now for Sven Michel. I mean, either he can just make the, let's say, easy shot. I mean, just a draw to score 1. He's got backing. He knows the speed. He can he's got the whole 4 foot, 8 foot to draw to. And score 1, or actually there is a possibility for a double takeout on those 2 red rocks,
which is incredibly tough, though.
He is probably thinking about. I mean, I can understand at that point in the game that if ever he can score a big end, it would be a really big plus. So maybe it's a risk worthwhile taking. I mean, he's probably thinking about that. The conservative shot would be just to draw for 1 and take your 1 and keep trying later.
Or the high-risk takeout for 3.
Ah, vous êtes sûr?
So as you can see, the team, the front end of Baden are cleaning the entire sliding path and running path of the shooter, and they did actually decide on, let's play this double takeout, let's try to be brave and get maybe our 3.
Well, I think this is the most interesting shot to play. I mean, from a spectator's point of view.
Definitely.
Maybe their coach is not agreeing with that call, but...
Well, from a commentator's point of view, we are agreeing.
Yeah.
Sven Michel bringing the big weight.
I mean, if he makes it, it's just wonderful.
And double takeout for possibly 3. What a beautiful shot. Look at this. This is high-class curling. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Sven Michel with a double takeout slash shot for a score of 3 in this very, very exciting final at the Baden Masters 2012. Now we're at a score of 5-2 after 4 ends.
And you can see the joy on the players there when he made that shot. This is a absolute beauty once again. There's been 2 really good shots in that end. I mean, this double takeout there and this hit and roll from Sandro Troya. High curling class from Team Adelboden there, who's making the difference now with that very, very big 3 there in the 4th end. Nothing's over now yet, but they score in the even ends. And they have a 3-point lead on Peter. Now I think Peter will have to score a 2 now if he wants to come back into the game.
And Sven Michel will definitely try his best to keep Peter de Cruz from scoring 2.
I mean, all right, like Sven scored a 3, but I don't know if you can blame very much Peter and his team. I mean, like, they played a good end, and you really can't do anything when the opponent skip pulls out a shot like this. I mean, this is an absolutely fantastic shot. And, you know, when it happens, you know it happens. You can't do anything about it. And so you have to forget about it because you've got no control on what the opponent makes or doesn't make. So just focus on your game. This is the only thing you can really control. And maybe raise a bit your level. And anyway, no stress. I mean, just get a 2 back, you know, come back in the game. That's really important to try and stick to the score. I mean, nothing's over yet. Still 4 ends to be played. And so, you know, once you're in the lead, you see a classical opening. I mean, the team that leads doesn't want to take any risk. They just try and control the center by placing 2 rocks in the middle, while Peter, who's behind, will try, with the last rock, will try and create some offense by putting all kinds of rocks in play, starting with a corner guard that cannot be removed due to the free guard zone rule. Out of the first 4 rocks at the end, if they are in front of the house, they cannot be removed from play. So this rule is used to create some offense game. And right now we see actually Peter asking Valentin to use those 2 yellow rocks, so it can actually be very useful to Team Geneva by just, like, you know, freezing on them and using them as backing, as a cushion. And so knowing that this red rock there is nicely placed in front of those 2 yellow rocks, Sven is just going to take the easy shot. That means the peel on the red guard. Oh, and this there. Actually, well, the big problem is not having to have removed that yellow rock. I mean, that yellow rock was maybe bothering
Parce qu'on vient derrière.
Sven Michel more than it was helping them, even though it was close to the center, because that red rock was in front and they could use that yellow rock as a backing. The real problem is that they didn't remove that corner guard, who can now be used. I mean, Peter is going to ask his player normally to go behind this corner guard. That's just been missed by Sandro Troye. And this is why probably Sven Michel is unhappy with the shot played. I mean, those guards sometimes they look very inoffensive like that, but they can be a real danger. You know, when you're in front, you know, like when you've got players who can draw the house, they can always be used. And yeah, it's very, very. They can give a lot of problem. And this is with guards that you can, by placing rocks behind guards, you can score ends with more than one.
And Dominic Murky a little bit on the heavy side here, though digging nicely behind the guard.
Yeah, well, I think Peter was asking Dominic to actually be a little behind T-line, I think, to avoid a double takeout. Peter lying pretty good there, actually, even though with his rock behind T-line, he's got his rock in front of that yellow rock in the center. And now Sven Michel is just going to try again to peel the guard, but he's in a much more difficult position now. Big weight there.
That was close.
Nearly big weight, and actually I think he was maybe trying to remove the guard, and also he hit that red rock there. That's very annoying for Sven Michel. There at top of the 8-foot circle.
Tu penses à autre chose? Okay.
So Dominic Murky seems to be a little bit on the wide side on his release there. He's trying to put up another corner guard. Now the rock is finishing nicely though.
He wants it pretty close to the house.
Schrijf, ze staan al in Hoes. Nee, dat is niet. Kom met dit zo. Goed.
So the Pats he was a little bit narrow on this one. Still task fulfilled.
Yeah,
The guard is gone, even though they were looking, of course, for a run back and getting rid of at least 2 red rocks. It is still a quite hot situation here.
Well, the situation the way it is, I mean, the Cruz is actually looking at also scoring a 3 right now. He's got already 2 rocks in the house. If he manages to make a good shot later in the end to remove that yellow and lay with 3 shots without maybe leaving a double, or if Sven Michel misses the double, then he's looking at a possible 3, at least a possible 2. This is in the end a real aim. I mean, you try and score 2. Usually when you score 3, it's only when you take advantage of the opponent's mistakes. And now just gain time by playing another guard that Team Michel will very certainly remove.
Ok, ça suffit, 4-5. Faut que ça cale beaucoup. Dominique, devant, Dominique. Ah, il faut finir un peu pour la ligne. Hein. Plus basse que la rouge, plus basse que l'autre. Ouais.
So finally, they just played another one in the house that will be guarding that rock at the back. Interesting play. Sven Michel actually now looking to remove that rock at the back and lay 2 shots.
I think that is quite a good
which is probably a good option.
decision, yeah.
Another possibility would maybe be to play double on those 2 reds in front of T-line. Yeah. If ever Sven Michel is lying 2, I mean, the situation for Peter to score 2 is going to be compromised. So it's very important now for Claudio Petz to stay in the house.
Claudio Petz trying to remove the red rock at the backside.
It looks like though maybe he's going for the double indeed at the end.
And very, very nicely kept on track by the sweepers.
Yeah, good double there.
And that's exactly what Sven Michel needed in this situation. Now the chances for Peter Cruz to score more than 2 points is practically nil. Even to score 2 points is going to be pretty hard in this end.
Good shot from Claudio Petz. You can see the importance of the sweepers there who managed to hold the line of that rock even though it was at a really high speed. Just made that shot there. Now, crucial moment for Peter, who has to decide where he's going to place his next rock. He still wants to score 2, and he still has the possibility to score 2. It's very important for him to have another rock in the house after this shot now.
Derrière ça. Là, ça va. T'es sûr? Je sais pas, nous après on fait ça. Il y en a quand même 3 dans la maison. Il vient juste ça. Mais laissez un truc, tac.
Well, there's a possibility now maybe to attack those rocks in the middle, you know? Like, I mean, he can hit the red a little bit on the side and roll him with his shooter and leave 2 rocks split. Of course, this is a high difficulty shot. But it is a possibility. Finally, he's trying to just draw behind those 2 rocks at the back. Also an interesting call, you know. Sometimes curlers can forget that rocks in the house can also be used as guards.
Well, it's one thing you see fairly often on Canadian ice where the ice is really, really swingy. And luckily, as we have a Canadian ice maker here. So we have a late finish and a pretty hard finish at the Baden Masters. So this is quite a good possibility, I think, and a good option if it turns out to be the right way.
Well, finally, it didn't finish the way they wanted to, but at least they have that shot they wanted. Problem is, it's totally open. Peter is quite disappointed with this shot there. Now Sven has got to think where he wants to roll. After this really good double from Claudio Petz, I mean, the situation in the end has changed. I think that Sven has got the advantage right now. There's still the possibility for 2 for Peter is there, but I think he has to hope on a miss or a half miss maybe for from Sven Michel, because if they really play those two last rocks perfectly, it will be difficult to score two.
Well, there might even be a chance for Sven Michel to steal in the end if he continues to play as precisely as he did so far in this game.
Yep.
What is definitely clear is the fact that it's going to be really, really hard for the young team from Geneva to score two in this fifth end of the final here.
Well, one thing that's for sure, they mustn't get any points stolen. But the end is not over yet, and we see that often that, you know, good situations can change in terrible situations. It's just a matter of rocks. I mean, like just one or two rocks. So one rock missed here, one good rock just after that, and a good situation can switch from a good situation can switch very quickly to a bad situation. And there, so Michel just rolling a little bit on the outside, and now Benoit Schwartz's turn. He's saying that if you hit it on the nose, if you hit the red rock on the nose, you can, the rock, this red rock top 8 foot would just bounce back.
Ouais, moi je dirais même 3/4. Mais il faut venir Kevin, en 10 ça suffit pas. Hein. Non, on va pas passer en dessous. Moi je pense.
So what they're looking at now is.
Non, non, suffit 9 alors. 9, hein. 9, comme ça sur 3/4. Hein? Si ça fait ça et qu'on garde le shot, ça va très bien aussi. C'est ça qu'il faut se dire. Tu vois?
Yes.
9. Comme ça sur 3/4. Ça devrait jouer.
So what they're looking at now is maybe hitting the red rock on top of the 8 foot and running it back onto the yellow one, creating a double takeout there.
3/4, c'est pas mal.
Outside. Oh, sorry. Peter just showed it there perfectly. If you hit that rock just a tiny bit on the outside, the yellow rock, the red rock will be sent on the yellow rock, top of the 8 foot.
Ah, ça te paraît beaucoup?
And then the red rock, top of the 8 foot, will also roll onto the left towards that yellow rock in the 12 foot near the tee line.
So they are looking at a run back double takeout here. Quite an precise shot, which is asked from Benoit Schwartz.
Perfectly feasible shot, though. What's important for him is to have the shooter remain in play. Seems close, but it's curling a lot.
Close, but it curled just a bit too much. And the red rock is lying widely open. And what is even more important is that Benoit Schwartz's shooter is not lying second at the moment.
Yeah.
And therefore there won't be any chance whatsoever to score 2 points.
If Sven Michel makes the double, that's for sure.
Well, not even the double, but only the nose hit.
Yeah, that's true.
Non, non, mais en fait, bah, c'est le côté sport.
Last shot for the yellow rocks. Sven Michel in the hack.
Sven Michel looking for a nose hit and forcing Peter de Cruz to take 1 point in this fifth end of the final at the Baden Masters. Though Sven Michel seems to be wide on this shot, luckily for him, there wasn't too much of weight on this one.
moitié.
Well, this
faut
the
venir avec assez de
possibility
vitesse,
now.
ouais,
I
c'est ça.
think, well, maybe why he maybe should have played the double is that
Parce que
there's
tu fais
still a
assez fin,
split
ça, attention,
remaining.
c'est ça.
Uh,
Ouais, faut prendre un quart. Quoi.
Benoit can just
Un quart. Ouais,
touch
je pense
that
au-
yellow,
Ouais.
sorry, touch that red rock a little bit on this side and roll into the 8-foot and push also the yellow rock into the 8-foot for 2 shots. So a split to be played.
Well,
Play
it's too
just
bad that they ended up sweeping Sven Michel's
En
takeout.
tout cas, la moitié dans le.
Yeah.
dans le
They
huit pieds,
should
ça
have
suffit.
kept it just on track, and then it would have been
Yeah.
probably at the corner of the 8-foot, lying second. This way, though,
Peter asking for a backline weight. This is a. I heard Peter ask for a backline weight, which is a pretty strong weight for actually that kind of shot. T-line would be sufficient.
Yes. Ouais. Ouais.
and this rock is curling
Sweeping like
really,
hell.
really hard.
But it
Are
seems
they
good, it
able to
seems
drag
good.
it far enough? And they are. Beautiful played split by Benoit Schwartz.
Shots well done, and we hear the crowd cheering there. Great shot. They're back into the game. They scored their 2. It was difficult. It was painful, but they made it. And Peter is back into the game. 5-4 for Sven Michel with last rock in the 6th end.
And a happy Team Geneva makes a happy Team Commentators, because we have a close game again.
Yeah,
And
that's
it's
what we're
going to
looking
be
for.
some exciting final ends here at the Baden Masters 2012, where Sven Michel is playing against Team Cruz in the final. We've reached the 6th end, and now we're at the score of 5-4 in favor of Team Adelboden around skip Sven Michel.
3. Si c'est très court, on laisse 1.
And so now what Peter has to do is force Sven Michel to score 1,
Ligne parfaite.
not more. Try not to fall 3 down again. That's very important for them. So they will start with a center guard, which will help them to force Sven Michel
Merci,
to score only 1 and maybe give them a chance to steal if ever the
Voilà.
occasion presents itself.
And of course, leading this game by 1 point, Simon Gempler is asked to play right into the rings, onto the tee line. It is very important that this rock is coming into the rings and is not stopping as a guard. And the 2 sweepers are able to drag it far enough.
Voilà.
Another good example how important sweeping is in curling.
Ligne OK. Ligne bonne. Ligne OK. Un peu de place. Oh, oh, oh. Oh. Voilà.
So if you want to ask us any questions or leave a comment or two, go to live@curlingchampionstour.org, write us an email, or check out our Facebook page. It's Live Curling on Lola1.tv. We're happy to read your feedback or to answer you any possible question you might have.
So Peter actually taking quite a lot of risk there with 2 center guards and a really good draw there from
4-5.
Simon
Simon
Gempler.
Gempler. And now he will ask Dominic to freeze onto that rock, top of the 4-foot.
Ligne bonne. Ligne bien. Ligne parfaite. Oh, oh, oh. Large. Benoît, Benoît. Oh. Vraiment large. Vraiment large. Ouais, faut finir, ouais. Prise, prise, pas plus. Ouais, ouais. Prise. Ouais, 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 ouais. Yep.
And a nice corner freeze by Dominic Merky here. That's exactly the spot where Peter de Cruz wanted this rock to stay, and that's why he's going to open up.
Very important shot there made by Dominic Merky.
So Sandro Trollier is called out to play a hit on the guard, getting rid only of one guard though, even though I know that it's
they were
one
aiming
of
for two.
Sandro Trollier's favorite shots out there to play a double peel.
Yeah, it's good when you have a second who likes to play double peels. I mean, it's very important, you know. A good double peel, and you can maybe be in a really good situation. You know, guards can be very dangerous when teams try to catch up, so you must get rid of them once you're in front. And Sven Michel is in front, and on top of that, he has last rock, so he has to make sure he's not going to get any points stolen on him. So those guards are a big, big danger for him, because with center guards, it makes Peter's life much, much easier if ever he wants to steal a point. Good shot from Markey.
Plein sur ce rouge, ça fait 2 jeux. Si on tape pas plein sur la rouge, ça fait 2 jeux. Je pense.
So again, Sandro Trollier is asked to open up the center. This is looking really, really great, and there we go. A beautiful shot by Sandro Trollier. Not only getting rid of the two front guards, but also changing things up in the house itself.
Yeah, that's a key shot. I mean, like I was saying, you know, when your second make the double clearings, I mean, it helps you so much. And now Peter is in a bit of trouble right now, but they are still not that bad, because if they manage to hit and stay, they would have 2 shots. If they manage to hit on that rock in that shot in the forefoot, they would have 2 shots. And if they manage to keep that situation till the end of the end, then they would force Sven Michel to score 1. But there's still 8 rocks to be played, so patience. Many things can happen.
Oh, non, 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 non. Non, non, non. Juste nettoyer. Nettoyer. Oh. Oh. Balle. Balle.
And a nice executed, well played takeout by Peter de Cruz.
Oh, double. Or maybe there's a double, but it's really tough. You have to throw really, really hard if ever you want to have a chance to make the double.
Well, if there is someone out there who's able to play really, really heavyweight takeouts and be still precise on the broom, it's definitely Claudio Paz.
Yeah.
You can see he's already licking his lips.
Yeah.
Because he is liking those kind of shots as well.
But I think that what he's going to do is just maybe just try and hit and roll towards that rock, that red rock in the center. To make Peter's life a little bit more complicated.
Very, very nice shot here. Getting rid of the red rock and rolling to the center.
Je vais un poil moins vite et avance un peu vite. Je crois. Ouais.
Peter's was saying that he will throw just a little less hard than last rock he played.
C'était un peu vite avant ce que j'ai joué.
You see Valentin cleaning the ice just before.
Ouais, comme ça c'est bon. Juste rouler ça à l'extérieur, ça suffit. Hein. Hein? Non, c'est un peu dangereux. Attention. Oui.
Sweeping.
Hard sweeping to
They
keep
have
this
to
one
roll a little
online.
bit. They have to roll a little bit to avoid the double takeout, and that's perfectly done. Their second shot, and there's a very difficult. Well, there is a double, but it's very, very difficult, and I think that then Michel will just ask Claudio Pets to hit and roll in front of that red rock at the back of the rings.
That's exactly the right prediction you've made.
Cheers.
Claudio Pats trying to roll in front of the red rock, though this one is looking quite wide. Rolling a tiny bit too much there and leaving a open draw to split the house for Peter de Cruz.
Or maybe I would just maybe hit one of those rocks and roll towards the center. You know, I mean, you must. I mean, if ever Team Michel scored a 3, that would probably be game over. So, well, either draw or take out, but you have to make sure to be in the 8 foot, like Peter just said in French.
Hein? Bah, je vais être sûr d'être dans le 8 pieds. 8, là derrière, 8, 9. 9, c'est mieux. En tout cas, la moitié dans le 8 pieds, Val. Hein.
Benoit Schwartz is asked to play a open draw onto the tee line, sitting second and splitting the house, making sure there is no opportunity for a possible double takeout.
9. 9. Ligne parfaite.
They absolutely have to make sure that rock is shot. Sweepers are working really hard on it.
8 pieds. Fort! Fort les gars, allez, pousse, tout l'eau. Encore.
That's a good shot. It's not as far in the house as Peter wanted to do it, but I don't think there could be a double because if ever Sven Michel went for the double, that red rock that's just been played would jam onto the yellow rock just on its right.
So once again, really, really nice rock placement by Team de Cruz from Geneva, who are doing their all and everything to keep Team Adelboden down to only 1 point in this end.
Sven Michel's going to hit, probably just trying to hit and roll again.
Sven Michel playing the big weight though, so he is looking for the double takeout here, though this one is really wide. It will only roll a tiny bit to the center.
Yeah, so now, very important shot. has
Ouais,
got to
il est
hit
là, au pire,
and
ça reste
stay
là-dessus.
on the nose.
Enfin, de toute façon, ça revient même de rouler ou en plein, je pense. En plein, même rouler un peu au centre, ça va. Hein. 10, ouais. Tiens, 10, comme la mienne, là, comme ça. En plein, je pense que c'est vraiment bien. Hein. Si on roule dedans, ça va aussi.
Yeah, the
Roule un
real
poil au centre.
important thing is to stay. I mean, if you don't stay, Sven Michel is at least going to score a 2 and probably a 3. So that would probably mean a game over if ever he scores 3. So crucial shot now for Benoit Schwartz, who is not allowed to miss it. But he's a very precise player once again. So we expect him to make that shot perfectly. Benoit has proved himself as a somebody resisting to pressure very well.
Nettoyer.
So has to curl a bit, has to curl, has to curl, has to curl. That's
And
perfect.
just curls enough, hits it right on the nose.
Yeah.
Stays in a good position there.
Now, Sven Michel. I think if he hits that rock on the nose, he will play shot. So, well, whatever he prefers, either he can just play the cold draw or the hit and the stick. I personally would rather play the hit and the stick, you know. Less risk if ever you miss your draw or something.
Or the draw
You
is
get a
picking
tilted
or
on you.
anything.
Maybe the takeout is a less risky shot to play.
Méga chaud.
So, well, there's a lot of thinking for what is probably an obvious shot to play. He's looking for the double again. Well,
He played it
it's
before on this side of the sheet.
all or nothing then. I mean, because if he misses that double, probably there will be a steal of 1 for Peter de Cruz, who will tie
In
the game
the
up.
even ends.
Yeah, I think it's just better. I mean, he's 1 ahead. If he scores a 1, he'll be 2 up coming into the 7th.
Having the advantage of the even ends.
If he forces Peter to score only 1 in the 7th end, I mean, he will be 1 up with last rock, and even if Peter scores a 2, he will be tied with last rock. So he will, whatever happens, be at his advantage. So I think that he should just go for a hit and stay for 1. I think that's probably the easiest shot to
I
play.
totally agree.
And I think that's what he's finally decided to do.
And this one is really, really curling a lot.
It looks good there.
Very nice.
Tu vois, là, je
Kept
parle dedans.
online by the
Je fais
sweepers.
your face like, I want to do it.
So only 1 point for Sven Michel, and he is leading this game after 6 ends. 6-4 against Peter de Cruz. We are coming into the 2 final ends here at the Baden Masters 2012. It is the final we are covering, the first event of the Curling Champions Tour 2012. My name is Daniel Schifferle, and I'm commentating along with Roger Gulka.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
glad you joined us today.
Well, tactics now, I think, for Peter, all the either you score 2, either you blank. I'll even make sure not to get stolen. That's very important. I mean, if Sven steals 1, I mean, Peter will be 3 down with
You really
last
wanted to-
shot.
I
So
know. I saw it in your eyes. You were like, oh. No, I saw.
So if you want to leave any comments or pose a question, just go to live@curlingchampionstour.org. That is our email address. Write us an email or go to our Facebook page. It's live curling on lola1.tv. We're always happy to see some feedback and let us know whether you like what we are doing here.
Yeah, and thank you to Daniel Rothbeller from Germany, who just sent us a little compliment there. Thank you for the commentating. We're enjoying the close game. Well, we're also enjoying the close game too, and we're really glad that you're enjoying it with us. And thanks for watching on Laula TV. It's really nice, and we're having a really good time there. So keep sending us your feedbacks. I mean, we really like that, and we are really happy to answer any question on the game or on curling in general. I mean, don't hesitate. Send us an email, and we'll answer it live for you.
Another beautiful draw there by Simon Gempler. Coming down nicely, stopping right on top of the button. Partially buried behind the guard. Once again, as a quick reminder, it is the goal of Team Michel to keep Peter de Cruz from scoring more than 1 point in this end, while Peter de Cruz is, of course, looking to score 2 points. Having hammer its lead, Valentin Tonner, only 19 years of age, who is now trying to put on a freeze. Once again, a really neat peel by Sandro Turlier, who's always really close to getting rid of everything in front of the house. I'm sure once we've reached January, the top of the curling season, Sandro Turlier will be on top of his performance and playing one double peel after the other.
Ou bien on peut venir pousser là, mais après ils enlèvent tout, c'est un peu chiant. C'est bien d'en avoir une. Ok. Il faut juste pas qu'il puisse faire ça. Bon, quoique, il sera derrière qui, c'est pas grave. Bien, 7. On est large. Benoît devant. Benoît devant. On est vraiment large. Ouais, faut.
Dominic Markey asked to draw into the rings here.
Ouais. Tout derrière. Ouais. Ça va bien?
Here we go again. Sandro Trollier looking for the double peel or a peel in the back end of the house there. No big deal whatsoever.
OK. Elle a moins de cœur, là, les gars. Elle a beaucoup moins de cœur.
And Dominic Merky drawing to the tee line again. So it really is a basic routine right now.
Ouais, 8.
Both
8, si on
teams
peut.
are anticipating a possible mistake by the opponent here.
Ouais, OK. C'est bien.
And right now, Team de Cruz is setting up their end for 2 to tie up the game. And they will, if ever they manage to score their 2, then they will be tied without last stroke in the last end, and they will desperately try and steal. This time they will have to hope that Simon Gempler doesn't make both his tick shots on the guards if they want to have a chance to win it.
That is, of course, if they are able to score 2 points in the 7th end here.
And Team Sven Michel actually are the title defenders. They won it last year, and they're back in the final this year again, and they're challengers. They're a really good team, good Swiss team there. So we are...
As a quick reminder, they're both competing here for a prize money of 11,000 Swiss francs for the winner, 7,500 francs for the second, which is, I think, a pretty good win for the first event of the tour here, and would be a great start into every team's season.
Il y a encore le coup de 2. Juste taper, rouler à l'extérieur. Normal. En plein, il y a... Ouais, faut rouler quand même un poil. Ouais.
So Peter Foundley is looking for the hit and roll.
Juste taper, rouler un peu à l'extérieur. Ouais, enfin...
Roll a little bit on the outside, like he says, to avoid a possible double takeout.
En plein, c'est vraiment chaud. Non, normal. Je mets un 10, ok? Tac. Attention. Oh, 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 oh. Non, 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 non. Jamais, jamais,
The
jamais,
Cruz
jamais.
looking for a hit and roll.
No, no, no.
Or at least a hit and stick, but he's a little bit wide on this one and rolls out of the rings, and you possibly have heard his broom smashed on the ice. He is very disappointed with this shot.
Yeah. This is way wide there, off target. And nothing is lost, though. I mean, he still has a center guard, a rock behind the tee line he can always freeze to. Yeah. So discussion on Sven Michel team. I suppose they're maybe thinking about how they would get rid of that red rock, because they will have to get rid of it some point if they don't want to get a tooth taken on them. Maybe they should just draw behind the center guard, maybe go for steal, but that would be very risky at that point of the game.
See, I would just play the direct hit on it.
Yeah.
Get it out of the rings.
Maybe, yeah. Well, I'd say the ideal shot would maybe manage to do the run back and roll out with your shooter, but this is, of course, more difficult than just a direct shot.
You know, why play any complicated version if you can play the easy shot?
Well, I mean, he's 2 ahead. I mean, he can just... Peter's still regretting his shot there. He'll have to refocus. Benoit is concentrated. Behind Saint Michel, also very concentrated.
Meins? Rood. Okay.
Really, really nicely played here by Claudio Paz.
So finally went for the direct hit and made it.
Which gives Benoit Schwartz only 3 remaining rocks here to create a score of 2 in this end, which is their ultimate goal, of course.
Now Peter needing to refocus after his first miss. Make that draw perfectly. They'll be back in the end. Well, anyway, if worse comes to worse, I mean, if they only score 1, whatever happens, they will have to steal in the last end. So if they steal 1 in the last end, they will manage to bring the game into an extra end. So they absolutely have to make sure they at least score 1. Rock seems just a little bit slow.
And they're able to drag it by the guard, though. Only in front of the 8-foot circle.
Peter very frustrated there. Well, at least he won't be playing the next shot, so he can just focus on giving the ice to Benoit and reading. Now, reading the ice.
For him, it's really important right now to keep heads up. They're only 2 points in behind. And there's still a possibility to score 2 in this end.
Yeah, well, they can also, I mean, if ever they blank the end, they can also always keep their chance in the last end to score their 2 and steal in the extra end, which is, in the end, the exact same situation. And
well, of course, though, right now I don't really see the chance to blank the end at any point.
If ever Sven Michel maybe rolls out and doesn't stay with if his raise there on the red doesn't stay.
Oh, and this one is very wide.
So there's a possibility for 2. Now, Sven Michel very angry at himself, a bit wide. You know, like it was Andrea Habiger who had noticed that on his outturn he was maybe a little wide, and that probably played him a little trick there. He has a tendency to slide a little bit wide on his outturn. And there, well, the rock didn't come back enough, you know, with his speed this way. So now he is putting back Peter and Benoit Schwartz in the end.
5 là.
Team from Geneva.
Complètement dans le 8 pieds. Surtout au milieu là, ça va peut-être ralentir un peu aussi, hein, force de jouer. Attention.
And with a very important draw now, he has to place his second shot into the house. Avoid leaving an easy double.
And suddenly you could feel a little bit of tension coming back into the ranks of the fans of Team de Cruz.
Looks pretty fast.
And this a very, very uncommon miss by Benoit Schwartz.
Yeah, now they have to hope that Sven rolls out with his shot there, because he's not laying 2 right now, and if Sven hits and sticks, he will have 2 shots, and he will probably have to force Benoit to score only 1, or maybe if they're lucky, he'll leave them a double take-up. But the way that Red Rock is placed, it double seems pretty hard to imagine. I think Sven should just hit and stay on the nose there, and there will be absolutely no double, and he'll just leave Benoit with his 1. That would be mission accomplished for Team Adelboden. Adelboden, a nice village from the mountains facing the big city of Geneva.
So Sven Michel with a standard shot here. He's asked to hit and stick. Even though it is a straightforward shot, this one is really, really important. We don't want to leave a double.
You really don't want to roll out. That's really what you don't want to do also, because then you just leave an open hit for 2. Where you don't want to roll and leave a double, exactly like you were saying, which might happen there. I wonder if he just rolled into place with, I think he's just lucky there. He's not leaving him a double. Could there be a possibility to blank there, actually?
0, il n'y a pas. 0, ça reste.
Maybe.
I think there's no chance
just a
to
little
blank
bit
this
lucky
end.
there. He rolled just far enough so that no double can be possible. It's really too bad that Benoit didn't manage to get that first shot right. But anyway, they will have to, whatever happens, I mean, if Team de Cruz wants to win this game, they will have to steal at least once. And so Team Adelboden will be normally 1 up with the last rock and the last end.
Benoit Schwartz drawing for a single point here in the 7th. Coming down the middle path of the sheet, where the ice is becoming slower and slower over the time a curling game indoors. And so we're in the final end of the final at the Baden Masters 2012 at a score of 6-5 in favor of Team Adelboden around skip Sven Michel, who will have the hammer coming home, leading the game 6-5.
Yeah, and now we will, both teams know what their tactics are going to be. Peter will try and put as many rocks in play as possible. He will start with center guards near the center line there. while Adelboden will just try and get rid of any rock in play to ensure him an easy, open last shot. And this will be the time where the leads come into play. Very important for Valentin Tanner to put those center guards correctly, and Simon Gempler will try and tick them out of the center. He will not be able to take them out of play because it's forbidden thanks to the free guard zone rule. And so first shot made by Valentin, and now will Gempler set his team perfectly for this second win in a row, for a possible second win in a row in that tournament.
Simon Gempler is asked
Seems
to
just
play
a little
his
bit wide.
take
it
shots.
has to curl. It must curl if ever he wants to have a chance. It seems like it's going to go straight by, and that was a hard shot. And it is actually pretty bad shot because it stays in the rings behind the tee line, which can only help Peter de Cruz as long as the end goes. So now they will just play a second center guard.
So all of a sudden, things have become quite interesting again.
Yeah. Well, there's going to be more tension than in the last time against Tierney, where Gempler managed his two tick shots. I mean, tick shots are very complicated shots to play. And I mean, there he just missed for a millimeter. And now Valentin Tanner is up there to put the second guard in play so that Peter can try and steal this end and score without the last rock. Their tactics are, you know, if you want to steal at that level, you must have a rock in the 4-foot buried. Impossible to take out that easy. Force Sven Michel for the hardest shot possible. And you can do that thanks to those center guards. And now I think that Sven Michel is just asking Simon Gempler to draw inside the house, top of the 4-foot, to take position in the control zone. That's the control zone, is that zone in front of the 4-foot circle in front of the tee line.
So after Simon Gempler missed his first shot, Sven Michel changed his tactics.
And I think he just didn't curl enough there. He's not hidden. And now Dominic Marquis might be able to just draw. Push that yellow, yeah. I think that's a good shot. Just push the yellow behind the tee line. Maybe roll a little bit in hidden. In just biting the 4-foot, that would be a perfect shot. We always say in those kinds of events that the first rock of the second is very, very important. I mean, if he can get the right rock in position behind the guards, then he will just need to keep guarding that rock until the end of the end. Of course, provided that no double peel is going to be made. Oh, and he seems to be a little bit inside.
And this one is really digging in,
this guard.
almost going sideways.
Come on. Okay, that seems like an absolutely beautiful shot. Doesn't bounce too much. And there we go. Dominic Marquis managed to place his shot where he wanted, behind the guards in the 4-foot. I think he's lying shot right now. This yellow rock is totally open. The situation right now is in favor of Team de Cruz, who are trying to steal to stay in the game. If they steal one, it's an extra end. If they steal two, it's
and there we go. A really, really nice double peel by Sandro Trollier, who has changed the situation once again entirely.
Yeah, if Peter steals two, they win the game. But if they don't manage to steal, then it's Sven Michel's victory. And you can see how this shot matters and what it means to Sandro Trollier.
Very intense look on his face there.
A big shot there. So he likes those double peels, and they're very, very important. I mean, if there's two guards like that, you make the double peel. That's a really good second there they've got. So theoretically, Peter cannot have any more than one guard in play. But anyway, nothing's over yet. I mean, they still have that rock well placed in the forefoot. They put the guard again. And now Sven is just going to probably ask Sandro Trollier to take that guard away, remove it from play. Good shot. Now it's important for Team Adelboden to manage all their peelings.
So we're back at putting up guards, taking the guards away, putting up guards, taking guards away. A routine you will see in many, many curling games when it comes down to the last end.
Comme Dominique, 2, 3, comme ça. Je joue en genre en 80 pour ça. 80, 90. 80 tout seul, ok. C'est là. Oh, 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 rien maintenant, rien maintenant. Oh, Dominique. Dominique devant. Fini. Ouais. Ouais. Ouais.
And really great sweeping going on. Huge effort by both of the Swiss sweepers here.
Guard, though, is a little bit too far away. I mean, the ice swing's good enough. I mean, Sven Michel is going to go for the rock in the house. Thing is, if ever Claudio Petz rolls out, Peter can still put a second guard in play. But there will not be any more a shot hit in the middle, but the dangerous guards for Sven Michel will be in play.
Claudio Petz will take off the guard. Which isn't that bad of a
Which is plan
result.
B. Well, in the end, I didn't understand exactly what he asked for a first shot. Maybe he was just in the end aiming for the guard. And if he was missing, he would have gone for the rock in the house or vice versa. Anyway, one or the other is good. So Peter is there. Got to place this guard again. It has to be in the right line. That's the most important. If possible, not too close to the house. Just in the middle of the guard zone. That would be perfect. Apparently it's a bit wide. Has to trail.
On doit finir. La même ligne, même ligne. Ouais.
So the guard is there. Might be just a little bit too close to the house, but it is there. We'll see. I think Sven is maybe going to try for the run back. Double takeout and roll out. There's Claudio Petz in the hack, ready to throw. This is a very important shot again. If he makes that, it might be game over. You never know.
Claudio Petz being quite wide on this one.
Just trying to peel. That's okay. That's what you have to make sure you do, is that you may have to make sure you get rid of this guard. Not try too much to do the fancy shot. Sometimes just assuring the essential means just cleaning the front of the house is very important. And now Ben was first shot. I think that he should just place that guard once more and maybe play in the house on his second shot only.
Hein? Parce que là, il fait le double. Ça score, ça. Ou bien même genre assez haute.
I think that Benoit and Peter are worried that
Comme ça, même s'il fait le double, on peut venir. Bon, après, ça c'est facile.
that if they place the guard, then Sven could use his own yellow rock to get rid of the red. You know, do a double takeout on those two rocks.
Well, the thing is, you can't close down both.
Le truc, c'est que si genre on est 4, enfin si Si on vient 4 là. C'est pas facile. Il y en a sûrement une qui va rester. Hein. On est là?
Yeah, they're thinking about just going top 12
Quand même.
to stop a possible double on those two rocks. And if ever Sven tries to make a double on the two reds, then one of them should be staying in play at least.
Problème, si on met,
Crucial shot.
si on met une garde pile sur la rouge, lui il fait tac.
Yeah, Peter was just showing what he's worried about.
Là? Moi je pensais venir là. Là il va faire quoi? Il va essayer le double? Ou même peut-être juste... Tu vois? Là?
It really is a tough decision which one you're going to play here.
Ça c'est trop facile.
You always want to put up tasks for your opponent, make it as hard as possible for the opposition to achieve their goal, which is of course getting rid of that red rock, in this case here. So how do you protect this red rock properly? That is the question they're posing. And I think they're going to decide to sit on top of the 8-foot. A little bit of separation between the two rocks.
Pile là, on est vraiment bien. Tu la veux carrément 2 pour qu'on puisse l'utiliser? Ce serait bien, hein? 2, 3, ouais, comme ça.
So it's growing a little bit too much.
Putting up a guard.
Finally, that rock will just end up guarding the red rock.
Though only covering half of it.
On est obligé de mettre une garde quoi qu'il arrive.
Ja, ich kann neben noch blöd herlegen. Was macht er mit dem? Rollt er raus, Mensch?
Très franchement, il est facile.
Zu weit darf er nicht, aber ein bisschen schon.
Tu vas déjà remonter, ou? Hein?
Ja. Ja, er ist ein bisschen weiter unten. Ja, aber auf das Mal hier. Entweder die Karte auf oder der direkt weg. Probieren. Ja, ist gut. Kann ich schnell kommen? Gut, 9 ist gut. Gib mir eins Eis. Perfekt, gut.
Sven Michel decided on playing directly onto shot rock, getting rid of the red rock. What do you think of this decision, Roger? He's taken off the shot rock and I think he leaves a possibility to draw even a better one.
Looks like he's a little bit inside on the guard there. Oh, just made it.
Very nice sweeping here.
Well, now it's Benoit's turn now to play, and he'll just, well, he's got the guard, I mean, so he'll have to play behind the guard.
The thing is, you don't want to be too close to the button, otherwise Sven Michel can always push his yellow rock on the left-hand side onto the red rock.
Actually, using the yellow maybe to go behind the guard, it would be perfect, probably the perfect shot to play, because it would push that yellow a little bit out of the way, and he could be behind the guard, of course.
Exactly,
shot,
that would be the
don't expect any loss of that point of the
absolute
game.
perfect shot.
This is now Benoit absolutely has to beat shot to force Sven Michel to play his last shot. Sven, of course, doesn't need to score. He just needs to make sure that the Cruz doesn't score. There cannot be any win for Peter de Cruz now in this end. There can only be a steal of 1, which would mean an extra end. And we will see what happens now. Benoit ready. He knows what pressure is, and he knows how to resist to it. And
Benoit Schwartz with his last rock in the final at the Baden Masters 2012.
and I'm sure he's hoping this is not his last rock of the game. A little bit wide. It's the curl.
Switch! Et fouillette, 6! Foul! 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 Tout le monde regarde, elle est parfaite! Tout le monde, allez, encore! Allez!
And is just half a rock too short, and that means that Sven Michel defended his title from last year and is once again the champion of the Baden Masters 2012. So he's the winner of the first event here at the Baden Masters 2012, the first event of the Curling Champions Tour here in Europe. And you can see the